The maintenance bay of the Celestial Voyager hummed with the low thrum of dormant systems as Ken wedged himself deeper into the shuttle's engine compartment. His toolkit clinked against the metal flooring, and a bead of sweat traced down his temple despite the climate-controlled environment. "Third bypass conduit is completely fried," he muttered, examining the charred component with a critical eye. "No wonder we've been running at 60% capacity." Mia appeared at the edge of the maintenance pit, datapad in hand. Her auburn hair was pulled back in a practical ponytail, and her engineering coveralls bore the telltale stains of a long shift. "How bad is it?" "Bad enough that we'll be here another 4 hours. Maybe 6. Ken didn't look up from his work, already reaching for his plasma welder. "You might want to update Captain Vortish. He's not going to like the delay." "The Zentari never like delays," Mia said with a slight smile. "But he'll understand. It's not like we can jump to hyperspace with a damaged engine core." What neither of them noticed was the soft padding of tiny feet approaching from the cargo bay entrance. The Zentari were a proud warrior species, standing nearly 8 feet tall with chitinous armor plating and 6 powerful limbs. They had conquered half their galaxy before humanity had even invented the wheel. But like many apex predators, they had one surprising weakness. Their young Zentari cubs were small, barely the size of house cats, with oversized eyes and underdeveloped armor plates that made them look perpetually curious and vulnerable. They were also devastatingly adorable and utterly fearless. 3 of them had escaped from the residential quarters while their parents attended a strategy meeting in the ship's command center. Now they had discovered something far more interesting than their designated play area: humans at work. Ken was halfway through rewiring the plasma distribution network when he felt something tug on his boot. He glanced down and found himself staring into 6 enormous luminescent eyes. "Oh no," he breathed. "What?" Mia called from outside the compartment. "We have visitors." The smallest cub chirped happily and attempted to climb Ken's leg, its tiny claws finding purchase in the fabric of his coveralls. Its siblings were already investigating the open engine compartment with enthusiastic curiosity. Mia's face appeared in the opening, and her eyes widened. "Ken, those are Commander Krell's cubs. We need to get them out before they hurt themselves." Ken finished, carefully detaching the cub from his leg and setting it down gently. "Yeah, I figured. But removing Zentari cubs from an area they found interesting was like trying to herd cats. Extremely intelligent, mechanically curious cats with climbing abilities that defied physics. One cub had already discovered Ken's toolkit and was attempting to carry a molecular spanner 3 times its size. Another had climbed into the engine compartment itself and was chirping excitedly at the glowing plasma conduits. The third was trying to help Ken by pushing random components across the floor toward him. "They think they're helping," Mia said, somewhere between alarmed and amused. Ken carefully extracted the cub from the engine compartment, holding it at arm's length as it wiggled enthusiastically. "Little guy, these plasma conduits will literally vaporize you if they're active." The cub chirped and patted his face with one tiny paw, clearly unconcerned about the dangers of high-energy physics. "Okay. New plan," Mia said, sliding into the maintenance pit. "We can't work with them running around, but we also can't stop them from trying to help, so we need to give them something safe to do." Ken raised an eyebrow. "You want to put them to work?" "Why not? Humans have been doing it with children for millennia. We just need to make it safe and make them feel useful." What followed was an improvised masterclass in creative problem-solving that would later become required viewing in human xenopsychology courses. Throughout the coalition, Mia gathered a collection of deactivated components, magnetic fasteners, and non-critical panels. She arranged them in a corner of the maintenance bay, creating a miniature work area for the cubs. Ken fabricated tiny tools from scrap materials, small wrenches, harmless scanners, and magnetic connectors that clicked together satisfyingly. The cubs were instantly captivated. Within minutes, they were repairing their own mock engine, chirping instructions to each other in their high-pitched variation of Zentari battle language. They sorted components by color, stacked panels in surprisingly organized patterns, and took turns using the tiny scanner to diagnose problems. Humans, Mia explained to the cubs in simplified Zentari, believe everyone can help no matter how small. You're not in the way. You're part of the crew. With the cubs happily occupied, Ken and Mia returned to their work. The shuttle engine gradually came back to life under their skilled hands. Bypass conduits were replaced, plasma distribution networks were recalibrated, and power flow was optimized beyond original specifications. 4 hours later, Commander Krell burst into the maintenance bay, his massive form radiating parental panic. "My cubs. I was told they—" He stopped, mandibles frozen mid-speech. His 3 offspring were arranged around their miniature workspace, covered in grease stains and looking immensely proud. They had constructed something that vaguely resembled an engine component, using the various pieces Mia had provided. When they saw their father, they chirped excitedly and gestured at their creation. "They were helping us," Ken said simply, wiping his hands on a rag. "Good workers, too. Very focused." Commander Krell's expression cycled through several emotions that human facial recognition software would later fail to properly categorize. Finally, he approached his cubs and examined their handiwork with the careful attention of a veteran warrior. "The structural integrity is adequate," he rumbled. "The component placement shows tactical thinking." The cubs chirped with pride. Krell turned to the humans, and when he spoke, his voice carried a weight that transcended mere words. "In Zentari culture, to teach a warrior's cubs is to honor the entire clan. You could have removed them, confined them. Instead, you made them part of your pack. That's what humans do," Mia said softly. "We find a way for everyone to contribute." Later, as the Celestial Voyager successfully jumped to hyperspace with its newly optimized engines, Captain Vordesh updated the ship's log. His entry noted the successful repairs, but he added an unusual addendum. Human crew members continue to demonstrate their species' most dangerous trait: the ability to turn any situation, no matter how chaotic, into an opportunity for cooperation. They do not simply solve problems. They transform them into solutions that strengthen the entire pack. It is no wonder they have become indispensable to the coalition, and it is deeply concerning to their enemies. In the maintenance bay, 3 small Zentari cubs slept peacefully, clutching their tiny tools, dreaming of the day they would grow large enough to truly help fix the engines alongside their human friends.